Another one.
So this person decided to threaten me with a good time. They said 5 questions about Agile. I love Agile, right? So it says, who writes your test plans? Question number one. Number two, is the test plan written for every sprint, or how often is it written? Who writes your test strategy? How often is a test plan written? Who signs off when you write your test cases? Who signs off when the testing phase is complete? All right, so I love these questions, and I am going to answer how I work with my team in getting this done. All right, and Mitch, if you have any insight, anything to offer, do not hesitate to share how you do it as well. Okay, so although you like from working with developers and testers and stuff like that, if you have any insight, please let me know. All right, so let's go. Let's put the 5 minutes up. All right, first question: who writes your test plans? I do. All right, the test plans. The QA engineers write the test plans, and um, sometimes the developers might help out writing a test plan, or if I'm not there, if I'm like on vacation or something or out of the office, and just because QA isn't there doesn't mean the work doesn't go on, right? Just because the developer isn't there doesn't mean the work doesn't go on, right? We still have to get things done. So the developers they write the test plans every once in a while, but mostly it's me writing the test plan. And how do I write the test plan, right? Because although this isn't in the question, but how do I write the test plan? I write the test plan based off the acceptance criteria of the user story that we're working on, right? The user story or the job story. I see, okay, what are the things that the test plan needs to hit? And then, so those are the first things that I go for. Then I say, okay, what are our possible negative scenarios? What are our possible risky things? And what other things are being affected by the work that we're working on, so we can get some regression, stuff like that, right? And we should be checking like the logs to make sure there's no errors in the logs that we're not seeing. That like because a lot of times the software might work, but there might be triggering some error that might come and bite us in the future. Okay, so that is the so that's that part, right? Now the next question is the test plan written for every sprint? How often is it written, right? So I don't know why you would ask if it's written for every sprint, because the test plan is not sprint related, because a sprint is just a time frame. It's a 2-week time period we're working towards the goal, right? The test plan, we write it per user story, right? Per job story, per user story. That it's necessary because there's some stories that it doesn't really involve. It doesn't really involve a like testing like that, But if it's development, then we're gonna create a test plan for it, and we are going to so it's written per story, right? And the thing is, our test plans are very short because we're writing it per the story. So we'll have part of the test plan. Okay, let's run the regression test for like whatever regression test that we have. So as soon as the development is done and we are like ready to test it, the very first thing that I'm going to do is trigger off the automated test to run regression to make sure that everything that was running before, like everything that was already built, is still working as expected. And then we're going to start executing the test plan, and also plan for automation for these new features so that we can add that to regression as well. All right. So so not for every sprint, but for every story that testing is necessary. And that's how often it's written, right? It's written for every story. Who writes your test strategy? So if we have a test strategy, it's going to be QA, but that's coupled up into the test plan on how we're going to approach testing, how we're going to approach releasing, and that is done by me, and by QA as well, right? At least by the QAs that are on my team. We're responsible for all the things that come from testing. Nobody else, right? How often is the test plan written? That's the same question. It's written for every story, right? And here's the thing which is it's going to get into the next question. Who signs off when you write your test cases? who signs off is the development team, right? So the way that it works is after I like as soon so and here's a tip that I here's a suggestion, right? Start writing your test plans as early as possible, right? Why do I say write as early as possible? I try to catch the developers before they start implementing, so that they can have an idea of what I'm going to be looking for testing, and I can have an idea of what they're going to be looking at as they're implementing. So we can have common understanding. I hate when this happens, right? I have an idea of how we're going to be testing based on the acceptance criteria, and the developers have a way of they have an idea of how they're going to implement based on the acceptance criteria, but it's two totally different viewpoints, right? It's like they saw it one way and I saw it another way, and now it's like, okay, we have a gap, and now there might be bugs because we never had that conversation. So I try to have that conversation as early as possible, right? I remember back in the days at a different company, there was so much confusion. Like this one time, the product owner wrote a story, and then we all understood it one particular way, right? But then thinking about it a little more, I'm like, actually, I think it should be like this, right? And then the developers did something totally different than what the product owner wanted, and I understood different from what the product owner and the developers wanted. And then the product owner was upset. The developers had to redo the work and stuff like that, and it was a total mess, right? So I always suggest that we have that conversation as early as possible. Who signs up? Whatever the developers who are working on the story sign off on the test plan. I sign off on the test plan. We all sign off on the test plan. We say, okay, this is our approach. This is what we're going to do. Who signs off when the testing phase is complete? I think we all sign off. I mean, primarily it's going to be I'm going to sign off on it because I have a series of checklists that I'm going to go through. Make sure our automated tests pass. Make sure our logs are clean. Make sure that the new features or that were being tested pass, and then make sure that we have automation for it if it warrants automation, and that it's added to the like regression test suite, right? And it's running on a regular basis, right? So primarily, I'm the one who's going to be signing off on it, but it's going to come from feedback because we're doing like we're doing code review on the automation on the new automation test as well. So it's a team sign off because they're approving the code for automation, and we have a checklist that's being followed of everything that needs to be tested. So making sure that the test plan is properly executed, right? So hopefully that answers your Agile questions in regards to testing and QA. All right. So let's wrap that one up.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.